This is Unit 9, Section 4, all about truth tables. Now, as you can see, the only notes are just these truth tables to fill out. Okay. Now, these are the basic ones that describe the stuff we've already talked about, as far as conditional, converse, inverse, conjunction, disjunction, contrapositive. So we've done all these with words. Now we're going to do what's called a truth table. That's kind of like a shortcut cheat sheet to figure out if something's true or false. Okay. I'm just going to start with number 1. So I will show you how to fill these out, these basic ones out, and then you can use these to help do the homework. You're going to have to. Okay, so make sure you get these filled out correctly. So to fill out a truth table, with all the statements we've been doing, of course you only have true or false, right? So we're just going to assume if both statements are true. Okay, so if P then Q, right? So P is true, Q is true, and then we have this statement on the end. This is a conditional. This is our if then. So we have if P then Q. Okay, that's the order that goes in. That's how you read that. So if P is true, then Q is true. The statement is true. Okay, so my first options are they're both true. The second option that I always do is true, false. Okay, and then we do if then, or if P then Q. If P is true, then Q is false. That statement is false. Okay, now I like to switch them. So instead of true, false, I do false, true. Now, if P is false, then Q is true. The statement is actually true. And then the last one, of course, my only other option, both false. If P is false, then Q is false, then the whole thing is true. It is a true statement. Okay, you can look at this and notice there is a pattern. If they're, I'll just point out some things that I notice. If they're both the same, it's true. And if I end on true, it's true. Okay, that's just the thing I noticed. Now you can do this order in any order you want to, as far as the true, 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 false. You can move those around as long as the end matches. This is just the order that I always go in. I always start with all true and then slowly change it all the way down to all false. Again, that's just how I've done it. It keeps it easy for me. But if there's a different way, go for it, as long as you get the answers right on the far right side. Okay, converse. So I'm going to go ahead and just fill out, whoa, I don't want a highlighter anymore. I'm going to fill out these just the same way. Yeah, and let's avoid a true false. If I can't tell if it's an F or a T, it's going to be wrong. Don't try that. I've had people do like this and say, oh, look, it's both. Can't get it wrong. No, you will. Don't do that. Okay, converse. Notice my statement, Q then P. So I'm going backwards. So I'm going from here, this direction. So make sure you follow the statements very carefully. So if I have Q then, if Q then P, true, true is true. Now I have false, true is true because I ended on true. True, false, they're different and I end on a false. That makes the statement false. And false, false is true. Okay. Moving on, conjunction. Remember this little symbol means and. Okay. So starting out, I'm going to fill this out just the same. Okay, so the conjunction means they both have to be true for the statement to be true. Okay, so the only one where they're both true is the top one, which means the rest of them are false. That's easy. Now I'm going to skip 4, I'll get back to that in a minute, but I'll do disjunction just because it's the opposite, or kind of not opposite, it's similar to conjunction. So I'm going to start off the same way. Okay, now this symbol means or. That means as long as I have at least one true somewhere, the whole thing is true. Okay, so these first 3 have a true in it. The last one does not, which makes it false. Okay, so again, you got to pay attention to the symbol. Alright, moving back. Now we have inverse. So I start off the same way. True, 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 false, false, true, false, false. Okay, now this symbol, if you remember, means not, or opposite of. So now, not P, so I go through P. So if P, I'm looking at this column right here, so I look at those and I just flip the value. So I have now false, false, true, true. And then the same thing, now I look at Q and I flip those. False, true, false, true. Okay, now, when I look at my in statement here, I only look at what it tells me. So I'm going to go from not P to not Q. I don't need the first 2 anymore. Okay, so I have false, false, that's true. False, true is also true. True, false is false, and true, true is true. Okay, again, this just takes practice. It gets very easy once you get the pattern down. And you just gotta be careful with the symbols and stuff. Last one, contrapositive. I start the same way. Okay. Now I look at I want not Q first. So false, true, false, true. Then I get not P, false, false, true, true. Okay, now I want to go not Q to not P. False, false is true, true, false is false, false, true is true, true, true is true. Okay. Now, if you notice, and you'll want to pay attention to this on the homework also, on these longer truth tables, the ones that go out further, like these inverse, contrapositive, I label my what's called a header row, the top where it has the P, Q, not P, so on. I label those. I always start with P, Q, and on some of them you'll have R, so you'll have P, Q, R. Then I start getting the pieces to my statement on the end so that I can form the whole statement on the end, that I can do the answer. So I don't want to just put P, I don't want just these 2 rows and then try and get my answer. I mean, it's possible to do that, but it's very difficult. It's very easy to make a mistake if you don't write it all out, which is why I do. And I have provided enough spaces for you on the homework to do the same. Because on the test you will have to, and if not, you will get counted off. So it's just best practice to write it all out. It makes it easier, I promise. So if you just build one little thing at a time, always start with the PQ or PQR, then get any notch you have, any parentheses, put that in one column, then find the statement at the end. Okay, and if you need help, at least with the header row, the letters at the top, you can always look at my answers. There's some that are started for you, but anyways, that's it for today's lesson. Pretty simple looking. Might sound confusing at first, but once you start doing it and kind of get the pattern going and understand, do it for yourself, it gets pretty easy.